Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So this is just one of the craziest stories. We told you about this yesterday, where the wife of the bassist for Weezer,
Scott Schreiner,
was booked for attempted murder. And this all has to do with a police chase. We now have details, and the details are crazy. They're just
crazy. What Jillian Lauren, that is Scott's wife, she is the one who was booked for attempted murder, but she got shot in the shoulder during this police activity in her backyard in her neighborhood. The police were chasing after suspects from a hit and run on a nearby freeway.
There were 3 suspects. One of them ran into a neighborhood that she was in, and she was at the house next door when one of the suspects shows up on the lawn,
and in a very bizarre fashion. So we have some of the police dispatch as this chaos is going on. You're going to hear them talking about the suspect who was stripped down to his boxers in the neighboring yard
to presumably blend in. Although I don't know how that blends in, but he got rid of the clothes he was wearing at the hit and run.
And then right next door, you have Jillian coming out with her gun. And according to the police, what you're going to hear them saying is they believe that she fired her gun at least once.
Hey, he has a gun. Hey, it's a female Hispanic, long gray shirt, black hair, black pants. She has a gun in her hand.
Okay, Roger. I got eyes on her. 4 shots fired. And I got your possible male suspect. Is going to be, looks like he took his clothes off. He's in boxer briefs.
Be advised, the female suspect's going to be wanted for AEW on the PO.
There's a gunshot victim at Eagle Vista Drive. Can a unit respond?
No address of that female suspect, so that might be our female suspect gunshot victim.
So let's kind of deconstruct this. So Jillian is inside the house. She hears the commotion. She comes outside. She sees what's going on. Now, we're trying to piece this together, but it appears from everything we now know is that at least the authorities are saying she fired at a police officer.
Right. That's what they are saying, and I would imagine that's why they will say that's why they responded, and she ended up getting shot in the shoulder.
And so if you listen to that dispatch, they say that there was somebody who got hit. And if they were firing at the police officer, they believed a police officer got hit. We have not heard that from law enforcement, and we've been making dozens of phone calls. They issued a press release finally, never said anything about an officer being hit. But you hear that right in the audio.
Yeah. Listen, LA is known for its police chases and wild, televised chases. This one, the ending of it is we're not done because this is not the ending. Yeah.
So she goes to the hospital for treatment, right? And she's being held on $1 million bond. She bails out. She gets out, and guess where she's going tomorrow?
I would imagine she's going to be at Coachella because that's where her husband's band is scheduled to play. And we actually, Scott is back in their neighborhood. I got video of him this morning walking his dogs. Here's what he had to say.
How's your wife doing? I know a lot of people are concerned.
Yeah, she's all right. Thank you for asking. Morning, Stephen.
Are you upset?
What's up, Tuxedo?
Are you upset by any chance the way that the police handled the situation?
I can't comment on that.
Is there anything you can tell us about what happened yesterday?
No, not at all. I can't talk to you guys.
How do you feel about being arrested for attempted murder, Scott?
You know what? I can't comment on that to you guys.
Is she doing, have you talked to her?
How are you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
And is she doing okay? Is she recovering?
Yeah, she's all right. Thanks for asking, you guys.
Is she badly injured?
See you guys.
Can you tell us anything else?
No, I cannot.
Coachella on Saturday?
How are you feeling? I know
See you at Coachella.
I mean, he sounds remarkably calm and unbothered for someone who is going through this. I mean, this must have been a frantic scene. You've got 3 guys running after a hit and run. His wife comes out waving a gun.
I would love to know what does he have to say? It's like, my wife,
listen, their version of this is going to be she's at home. Apparently their kids are there because the babysitter was also there.
Right.
And she thinks that there's a dangerous suspect about to come through their yard, so she came out with a gun. I mean, that's going to be her version of it. Now, as far as if she did actually fire it in the direction of
the police officer,
I don't know what her.
That's going to be that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing.
But I think, like, you know, like, if you know that there's cops outside, you shouldn't really be going outside with a loaded firearm. And
Yeah,
the fact
no,
that
that's
the
true, too.
suspect wasn't even in her actual backyard and the suspect was in the neighboring backyard, it just doesn't make sense that she'd go outside with a loaded firearm.
No, that's true. By the way, she has a colorful history.
Yes, Jillian has had a really interesting life in that she, back in the, I want to say, was it the late 90s?
Yeah, I think
maybe
it was
early
90s,
2000s. She wrote a book about her time in the harem of one of the princes of Brunei. And it was called Some Girls, My Life in a Harem.
Yeah, and according to her, she was passed along to the
Sultan of Brunei as well, who was the prince's brother, and all of that.
Crazy case.
But I will say they're living in suburban Los Angeles now, and they have 2 kids that they've adopted. So for this bizarre incident to land in their backyard, and for her to react this way.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm just thinking, it's like, God, do the dogs really need to go to the bathroom? Oh,
yeah, of course the dogs need to go to the bathroom.
I know, but he's
the
just
dogs
thinking,
don't know what happened.
He said, I'm going to walk outside and there are going to be some photographers out there.
Exactly.
Mackenzie from Kansas City. Is this a drug deal gone wrong? Because it doesn't make sense why she would be going out with a loaded gun, especially if she has kids in the house. If anything, when you hear noise and commotion from your neighbors, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open your window or just peep open your door. You're not going to go running out with a gun. And if she did shoot at the cop, that's going to add even more questions to this, because was she on something? Is that why her husband's so calm? Because this is an ongoing pattern?
Ma'am,
Who knows?
ma'am, drop the spatula.
Put down the spatula. Come out of the house without the spatula.
What you making?
Cookies.
Okay. Okay, we are going to move on.
Yes, to Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom, and the third person in their relationship now.
Which is not a human.
No, that would be the sex doll that Lamar had commissioned to look just like Khloe. Now, she found out about this, I think the way a lot of people did when we broke the story. And on the Kardashians, she was talking to her mother about finding out that Lamar was making this. Remember, at that point when he made this doll, he hadn't had the reunion with Khloe. They hadn't had the sit down.
He hadn't had the reunion, but I got to tell you, I did a documentary with Lamar, and he said that Khloe was the love of his life. He wanted back with her, never forgot it.
Clear.
Yeah.
I don't know if this doll is rubbing her the right way,
so to speak.
Lamar thinks this Khloe-like sex doll will be perfect because he could do whatever he wants with her sexually. No word on how Khloe feels about this tribute.
Oh my goodness.
You sound so demonic and unwell.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be flattered by this. It's more, man, this validates just how different we are and how much we've grown apart. And it's creepy and it's weird. But I'm not hurt by it. That's more his journey. It's just more weird and gross.
Is it?
Well, it does not seem like she was very flattered by it. I think this is just a situation of like, I think if a woman made like a doll out of like an ex-boyfriend, like we would be flattered, but with girls, I think they just find this kind of stuff really creepy.
Oh, I guess so. You're lumping all women into one bucket?
and all men, and all men is lumping in, saying that all men would be flattered by it.
I think there are a lot of people who would be flattered by it.
Right.
I think there are a lot of people who'd be flattered by it. Why do people who break up always wonder, is the other person going to upgrade or downgrade? Are the other person dating or not? Is the other person happy or not? They always carry that. And if you see somebody isn't over you, I know there are a lot of people in our office who would love that. And we hear it all the time in the morning meeting.
You want to name some names?
I'm not going to name names. You know who I'm talking about. And there are numerous ones.
No, I don't, because if I did, I'd name the name.
We talk about this all the time in the morning meeting.
But also, if you have
you're talking about her.
Her, well, in particular.
Yeah. Right.
Go on, Devin.
No, I was just saying, but like also if you've moved on from someone and then you hear someone got a doll of you that they can do whatever they want sexually with, like I'd be a little freaked out.
Would you?
People don't even like it out
How about an ex-girlfriend, Devin?
Yeah, I'd be freaked out if it's an ex-girlfriend. It's an ex for a reason. I don't want her doing things sexually
Hold
with
on.
me.
By the way,
let me
hold on,
let me
Devin.
add a hot
If
ex-girlfriend.
If she modeled the doll after you would be like,
Are you kidding, Devin?
I'm happily married right now. We're not talking about my exes.
Okay, now Devin, you're one step from exercising your Miranda rights. I mean, it's not we're trying to get you in trouble at home. We're just asking a question.
People don't even people are creeped out if their ex just dates someone who kind of looks like them.
Right.
So if you go get a doll.
It's weird.
I think that's just kind of crazy. I think it's creepy and it's just kind of giving obsessed. They broke up a long time ago. They've already been through so much together. So like, why? What's the essence? There was no consent. I don't know.
Well, you don't have to consent with a doll. I mean, what do you need to consent for?
I mean, if you're modeling it after someone, I mean,
what are you going to write somebody and say, "Hey, I'm making a doll"?
Do you have a name and likeness? Is there a name and likeness thing in the law?
Oh my God.
No?
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right. So when we come back, Wendy Williams gets she gets dissed by her assisted living facility.
By her guardian.
The guardian, right? Who said that Wendy could come and go as she wants. So why was she denied going out to dinner last night? Wendy Williams has to be wondering what in the hell was that letter her guardian sent to us?
To TMZ.
Saying, stop saying that Wendy can't leave her assisted living facility. She is free to go and go visit with family, go to dinner, whatever she wants to do.
Whatever she wants to do.
That's what was said to us in that letter.
Which is very recent.
Yes.
Well, last night, Wendy's niece, Alex Finney, who we've shown you before, Alex was in New York and wanted to take Wendy to dinner. There was a third person who was going to go to this dinner as well.
Which is probably critical to this.
I think so. His name is Joe Tacopina. You may know him from, so many trials, including recently him kicking the prosecutor's ass in the A$AP Rocky case. Well, Joe now represents Wendy as a personal lawyer.
Right.
And Joe, if push comes to shove and the judge will not end this guardianship, Joe is going to try the case before a jury.
Right. He told us as much when we had him on last week while you were on vacation.
And so
the three of them were planning to go out to dinner.
So at 7:05,
Alex and Joe.
So at 7:05 last night, Wendy talks to the Guardian and says, I'm going out to dinner in about an hour. And the Guardian says, no, you're not. Period. No, you're not. You're not going to leave the 5th floor where you need approval to even go down the elevator.
Were Alex and Joe on their way to go pick up Wendy at that point, I would imagine? Were they all meeting?
I think they were going to, Wendy needed a ride, so I think they were going to pick her up. Alex and Joe ended up going to dinner together. Mm-hmm. Wendy never went. But what's the deal with the Guardian saying, hey, she's free to come and go? Here's the deal, and this is something we know. The Guardian is suing A&E over this Lifetime documentary where Wendy was off the rails drunk, and it just was cataclysmic for her. And suing, saying A&E should never have put her in that position. Wendy does not want this lawsuit. Wendy says, if anybody's at fault, it's the Guardian who should have protected me and said, you're not doing it. A&E just did what A&E does. But Wendy doesn't want this lawsuit. We know that the Guardian's lawyer called Joe Tacopina and said, we want you to try the case for us.
The case against A&E.
The case against A&E. And Joe also knew Wendy wanted to hire him to fight the guardianship. And Joe chose the latter. Joe chose representing Wendy.
First of all, what a moment for Joe Tacopina. I mean, not only does he get A$AP off, he's now sort of being fought over by these two warring parties between Wendy Williams and the Guardian to represent their various interests. But B, it's a fascinating time for Wendy Williams, who is being told that she can leave and come and go as she wants, and then is restrained from doing so for a meeting with her lawyer. Obviously, there's got to be accommodations made for her to meet with counsel. And the idea that they're going to restrain her from doing that really does seem to run at odds with everything they've been saying before.
And the other thing is she missed out on a fabulous dinner.
Oh, gosh. This guy has been going on.
Il Molino.
He found out that the restaurant they went to is Il Molino. Go ahead.
It is.
Rant about. Do we have the menu? Do we want to put up the graphic? Do we have the menu?
It is.
We don't have that.
Even before the menu.
I'm sure Harvey's got it pulled up on his computer.
Even before the menu, they have this cheese and garlic that they bring out. It is fantastic. But I got to tell you, this is really interesting because, ultimately, I think this thing's going before a jury because it does not seem they want to release her. And boy, by the way, it's going to be interesting.
We should say, despite the horror for Wendy of missing out on an Il Molino dinner.
You haven't been.
She did actually get out of the facility today.
To go to court.
To go to court. They let her out for that. She did not have much to say, but obviously we know that
it's not a significant court hearing, but at a point, it's unclear to me why aren't that's one of her new lawyers, and this is a guardianship lawyer. I don't know why they're not going to court and saying, pull the plug now on this guardianship so the judge can say no and they can start the jury trial process. Right. But that's got to happen sooner rather than later.
Frankie from Washington, D.C. She was denied dinner with her niece and lawyer. This sounds less like care and more like control. I feel like they're trying to almost sabotage her so that she doesn't have that much of a relationship with who's potentially going to be her lawyer.
Well, she has a relationship. She does have a relationship. Just to button this up,
don't mention
They have this linguine with this white truffle that, like 2 months out of the year, that is just ridiculous. Okay. Anyway, we're going to
move. Any more restaurant reviews you want to do?
We're going to move on.
Can we do some more news?
I'm telling you, it's amazing. We're going to move on.
Moving on to a lawsuit that has been filed over that horrific American Airlines crash at Reagan National Airport, where it crashed into a military helicopter. The helicopter actually crashed into the plane.
Right.
And the person who's suing is a helicopter pilot who, on social media at least, was blamed. I mean, almost instantly after the crash, within a couple of hours, was being blamed on social media.
Saying that she was piloting that helicopter. And this is a social media influencer who has more than 2 million followers.
A guy named Matt Wallace, and frequently tweeting, especially when there's big breaking news like this.
And essentially saying, oh, this is DEI, she was flying the plane.
Well, this is all about because Joe Ellis is transgender, and what Matt Wallace posted hours after the crash was this. My brother just found out the helicopter pilot was a transgender. They aren't going to be able to hide this much longer. Well,
it's not true.
It's not true. Joe Ellis was not the pilot of that helicopter.
Although she is a Black Hawk helicopter pilot for the Army National Guard. So she has now filed a defamation lawsuit against Wallace, saying that what he did to her was horrendous, and is saying he is transphobic, and saying that this has just caused her enormous emotional pain.
Right, yeah, Harvey, she called a notorious transphobe who knew an anti-transgender narrative would draw significant attention. So basically, she's claiming that this guy...
He did it for clicks.
Right, exactly. And if anybody knows anything about this guy, and you've probably seen him on X, but he does post a lot of very out there and a lot of strange things. This guy is not part of the mainstream right by any stretch of the imagination.
And remember, at that point, and I don't know if she spells this out in the lawsuit, when he started making the whole thing about her being transgender, the president had already started ringing the bell about DEI at the FAA.
Like an hour after the crash, he comes out and says, he starts talking about DEI as if that's was the helicopter
for the crash.
Yeah.
And so clearly that Matt Wallace felt he had this information, knew that was going to catch fire on social media.
Yeah.
Hi, this is your girl April from Atlanta. I definitely think sometimes social media influencers take it too far with their clickbait. This was a serious situation, and him coming out saying that could be very, very, very dangerous to this pilot. And as well, it could cause some type of feelings to the victims, to the family victims. So I definitely feel as though she should sue, and she should go full court press.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
All right. when we come back, we got wedding bells for Toni Braxton and Birdman. They are married. Here's the twist. They've been married for 8 months, and they already filed for divorce. This is a bizarre honeymoon period, to say the least.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall.
It's TMZ.
Congratulations to Toni Braxton and Birdman.
And we're sorry about the divorce.
And also sorry about the divorce. But we're happy that you're still together. What in the world are we talking about? Years ago, Birdman proposed. It was 2018. He and Toni Braxton got engaged. And then they publicly, at least, broke up in 2019.
So we thought it was over.
And we thought it was over, though there have been some sightings of them, because we thought maybe they might be still together. Turns out they have been married for 8 months. And how we found this out is the really bizarre part, is because Toni filed to divorce Birdman just 2 weeks after they had gotten married. So this is a wild story. They got married, according to the documents that we got, they got married on August 8th last year. I'd imagine a very quiet, secret ceremony.
Never heard anything about it.
Maybe just close friends or family, but no one said a word. And then she, 2 weeks later, files for the divorce. In the divorce documents, she says the date of separation is August 10th. 2 days after they got married. So you think, all right, there is no honeymoon here. Clearly, this is going off the rails. She files the divorce. He gets the divorce documents. They're heading down to divorce land. And then in January of this year, they
withdraw the
dismiss
divorce. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, honestly, this is actually not surprising to me at all, because Toni and Birdman have been linked together, honestly, since 2017. That's when she confirmed the relationship. She said they had been dating a year before that, so they had been dating since 2016. And then they've been on and off for their whole relationship. It's been very up and down. They've been on Instagram, like, I'm single, then they've been on Instagram. Even just last month, she had posted on Instagram, like, sending Sunday kisses to Birdman. So everyone thought that they were, fine and dandy. No one thought that they were married, that's for sure. We did know that they were engaged. She talks about it on her show that she has with her family and her sister, so we knew that they were engaged. But as far as getting married, and I don't think that anyone would have thought that they would have filed for divorce that quickly, but for them to reconcile, this is pretty much what Toni and Birdman do.
The big question, of course, is what happened 2 days after?
What happened 2 days after? She never said. But, I mean, the good news for her is that the marriage has now lasted longer than Chris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. So, congratulations.
Hey, and listen, another 4 months, they're going to hang in there. They get their first anniversary. Wow, had no clue. All the things that are happening, and you have no idea.
Hi, my name is Sparkle from Wisconsin, and I feel like if Toni filed for a divorce 2 days after getting married, she always had reservations about the marriage. Something drastically had to happen or found out within those couple of days for her to even make a serious decision like that to end her marriage. But hey, sometimes you got to listen to your intuition before you make the biggest mistake of your life. But they making it work, so I'm happy for the both.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she filed, but then they withdrew it, and they're married as far as we know. We are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, President Trump going after 2 people who used to work in his administration. He's launched a Department of Justice investigation by executive order, no less, to look into these 2 individuals. This is clear revenge, right? The revenge that he said that Biden was guilty of doing. Why? We're going to get into this with one of President Trump's biggest supporters, Congressman Darrell Issa. Will be here when we come back. Well, the President Trump revenge tour rolls on. And now, I mean, it's just very clear what he is doing. He has said 2 things. I feel like he's spoken out of both sides of his mouth on this. He said that the Department of Justice had been weaponized for too long, and we're cleaning that up, and we're not doing it anymore. At the same time, he has now launched an investigation into 2 people who worked on his administration during his first term.
Now, this is a Justice Department investigation.
Right.
A criminal investigation.
Right. So he's doing exactly what he said he wasn't going to do, but these two people...
But the reasoning behind why he's doing it is interesting.
Right. Two people who worked in the Department of Homeland Security during his first administration, Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs. And Miles wrote an op-ed for the New York Times where he said that there were people in the administration who were basically standing up against some of Trump's policies.
Now, this was done anonymously, I believe, at first, and Trump says he's the guy who wrote it, he's behind it. As for the other, he refused to say that the 2020 election was rigged.
Right. And he was working on cybersecurity for the department, so he had knowledge about this and said there was no...
Now, listen to what Donald Trump said about this. He is tripling down on this.
He wrote a book, anonymous, and I always thought it was terrible, and now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. But it was a work of fiction. Had a lot of publicity, got himself a nice job with CNN or one of them. But we're going to find out whether or not somebody's allowed to do that. I think it's a very important case, and I think he's guilty of treason, if you want to know the truth. But we'll find out. And I assume we're recommending this to the Department of Justice.
Yes, sir. What you were watching there was an executive order that he was signing to launch this investigation.
Which is bizarre because the president, up until this point, they never launched these Department of Justice is supposed to be independent, but not here.
No.
So let's get into it with
Congressman Darrell Issa is U.S. representative from here in California in the San Diego area, and he is joining us right now. Congressman Issa, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you, and if I can, for both Charles and Harvey. Maybe make a slight. The order that he signed is really one that says that based on the conduct, particularly anonymously writing a book and revealing information, it shouldn't continue to have a security clearance. That doesn't seem unreasonable to any of us. But having said that, look, there's a difference between going after the man who is the candidate against you for president and finding ways in both federal and state court to create charges that had never existed before, to raid the former president's home and take information and then charge him with something less. If it was wrong, it was less wrong than what the former President Biden had done himself, and to say to the Department of Justice, look into this. There's a thorough review at the Department of Justice in all aspects, and there should be. What a U.S. attorney does in the last few days of one administration, certainly the new U.S. attorney should quickly look at it and decide whether those cases should still be dismissed or go forward and so on. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've been on Judiciary Committee now. This is my 25th year in Washington. I've spent every year looking at these institutions, and this is how they've always worked.
Well, I don't think they've ever worked where you have somebody who makes a statement that I absolutely believe this was a free and fair election. And on that basis, the president says to the Justice Department, investigate this guy. That's not a crime. That's an opinion. And it's an opinion backed by 60 judges and the majority of Americans that this was a free and fair election. So because he disagreed with Donald Trump, he is now under criminal investigation. That's not happened before.
You're clearly not a Californian if you can say that.
I'm a native. I'm a second generation native Californian.
But you can't be a Californian and think that when people in both parties received anywhere from 2 to 10 to 12 ballots, when people all over the country received California ballots long after they'd left the state.
60 courts respectly disagree with
Congressman, we're not going to relitigate whether or not. We're not going to relitigate whether or not.
Let's say
you're relitigating it. I'm not.
But Congressman, can we stop this for a second? I hear you. And I know, look, you have an opinion about this. We have an opinion about this. The bigger issue, at least for me, is that when you look at what's going on right now, Donald Trump tried to bar the Associated Press from even being in the White House because he disagreed with them about the way they referenced the Gulf of Mexico. So that's, number one. And now
you mean the Gulf of the Americas.
No, now you're in trouble. DOJ's coming after you.
I did that on purpose. I'll admit, Congressman, I did that on purpose. But look, and the court said, come on, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. You've got him going after like an enemies list that Richard Nixon had. I'm old enough to remember that. And this is an enemies list on steroids. He pardons the January 6 rioters, but he's going after somebody for stating an opinion about the election. And it feels like, Joe Biden may have weaponized the Justice Department, his administration, but this feels 20 times as much. And when he ran against it. So forgetting about the election, it feels like you get in the crosshairs of Donald Trump, and he will then use the Justice Department with an attorney general who will do anything he wants
called weaponizing,
to go after them.
It's called weaponizing.
I hear what you're saying, your concern. And, I've got to tell you, I've been in Washington. This is my 25th year here. 2 of them were working for Donald Trump in the administration. I left Congress, came back to Congress. I'm very dedicated to public service. This is what I do. Having said that, every president we can point to all the way back to George Washington and find something wrong with their wooden teeth, so to speak. Let's look at it another way. Has the process played out in some sort of an adverse way? The president is issuing executive orders. Some are sustained, some are not. Has he tried to circumvent any of the executive orders when he's been pushed back by the courts? No. Did Joe Biden get told in no uncertain term by the high court that he couldn't give away $188 billion in student loans, just forgive it without Congress? Yes. And what did he do? He gave away another $8 billion afterwards, finding a way to circumvent the clear order of the court.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
We can have challenges with both sides. And of course, I'm a Republican, a very proud Republican. Sure, I'm more likely to point out failures in the other party, but I also take heed of what I hear from the other party. And I will tell you, Congress will, in fact, do its job, and we'll make sure, more importantly, that the courts are free to do their job and do it properly. Having said that, look, in the 1550 or so, somebody decided it should be the Gulf of Mexico, but not in that pronunciation. For the president to be proud of America, for the president to be a cockeyed patriot, for the president to say our best days are ahead of us, you know what? That's refreshing. John F. Kennedy said more or less the same thing. Ronald Reagan said more or less the same thing. Sometimes we just have to look and say, somebody believes in America and is a cockeyed optimist and a patriot, and that's okay. Somebody thinks that they should take executive action on everything, and they're not always right. That's okay.
Yeah, that's where people disagree, that it's not necessarily okay. But look, we're out of time. We wanted to
Thank you very much,
we wanted to give you your say on this thing, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Have a good Easter.
You too. Thanks.
All right, you too.
Thanks, Congressman. Okay, well, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Kyle Richards in a heated dispute. What gives? We can tell you this. There's some doggies in the middle of this fight. Someone definitely had a dog in the fight. All right, we have some real Housewives drama here. Not the reality show type where it's kind of outlined for them and, you know what reality TV is.
No, this is
actually real because it just happened on the streets of Los Angeles. Actually, they were in the Valley in Encino. It's Kyle Richards, Teddy Mellencamp. I believe there's another friend of theirs with them. And as they're walking across the street, there's a dispute that breaks out with this woman who's walking her dogs, and it gets heated. You can see Kyle is recording it, I would imagine because she's concerned with what this woman is going to do, and I can understand that because she is marching toward her, and this goes on for several minutes.
This had something to do with the way the woman was handling the dogs.
Yes, that's what the witnesses have told us, that Kyle said something to this woman about the way she was handling her dogs.
And the way you see Kyle here, she's like filming the situation. You have to only think that she's doing that to protect herself, because it looks like at one point this woman's gonna like possibly lunge at Kyle. So you assume she's filming that so that if something did happen, she has hardcore evidence of what was going down.
But there's clearly a photographer that's shooting the whole thing there.
Right. And eventually a nearby security guard, maybe from a store or something, came
Brendan,
out to
do we have any idea what Kyle
on.
says the woman did with the dogs?
We don't. We've been trying to figure it out, but obviously a very tense situation.
Wow. Can I tell you, I mean, I'm not saying this happened to her, but I mean, have you ever seen like somebody dragging a dog on a leash?
Oh, yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think I have said something occasionally.
You kind of say something, I've never like confronted someone about it, but you say something that lets them know that people are watching and seeing what's going on.
If they're yanking the dog. But and I don't know that that's what happened here, but Kyle clearly thought something was going on, and this woman was not having it.
What up, though, everybody? It's Mo from Battle Creek, Michigan. And looking at this story, I don't know exactly what's going on here with the dogs being yanked all over the place, but good for Kyle running and not getting swung on.
Okay. It is time for
your favorite time of the week. Tim is here with his rejects. What do you got, Timmy?
All right, so it's now springtime, and some ski resorts, the snow is melting. You know, so it's becoming.
Somebody's going to hit a rock. Somebody's going to hit a rock.
No. So you don't really need snow to go skiing, right, Charles? So check out this guy. He's just got a walking path and a little mountain here, and you put the skis on, and you can have just as much fun on the dirt as it is in the snow, no matter what time of year it is.
Yeah,
so,
well, falling would be a lot more painful.
It would be a lot more painful.
That's impressive. I mean, those skis are done.
Yeah.
You're only going to get a couple of runs in on.
Okay, next.
All right, so your time is valuable, so anything you can make expedited, including a small task throughout the day, would be better off. So I have something here for you. So here is a toothbrush that can brush all your teeth at once in 20 seconds. You put the
it's like a retainer. It's like a retainer.
It's like a retainer. You put it in your house.
Oh, I like that.
He loves this.
Vibrates
No, I
20
like
seconds.
this.
It gets both sides, top and bottom.
Is this available?
It is available. I can get you a link there.
No, I actually want to know. I like this.
Yeah. So you quick 20 seconds in, out, done.
I like it.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that was a bonus.
Yeah. You got to check with your dentist, make sure.
No, I really like it. Well, we had my dentist on yesterday. I should have asked him. Okay, last one.
All right, so Harvey, next time you go on vacation and you want to go wakeboarding, make sure to bring a couple extra tables that you have instead of using a wakeboard or water skis. Here, this guy's got a few of his extra tables. He's got a dining table. He's got a little plastic table here coming up after. So you know, kind of different ways to have fun on the wakeboard.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, so
I actually kind of like it. Boy, thanks for the teeth thing. I really appreciate that.
All the time he's going to save. Wow.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep. All right.
Wow, I'm going to save like a minute 40.
Somehow I feel like the dentist is not going to approve.
I don't know. I like that, but anyway. All right, taking a break.
When we come back, a surprising move in the Cyrus family. You know that they've been at each other? Well, at least two people have buried the hatchet. We'll show you who when we come back. TikTok just out here doing the impossible, bringing families together. You know that in the Cyrus family, there have been a feud going on. Multiple feuds over lots of different things, but one of them involved Tish and Noah Cyrus. And the story was that, though I don't think any of them have ever spoken and confirmed this, but that Tish's husband, Dominic Purcell, had dated Noah before he got with Tish.
This is like a Wayans brother thing.
Kind of, or a primetime soap opera. But Noah did not go to their wedding, and there was bad blood, clearly. Until you saw this. Here's mom and daughter together. Anyone know what this dance is called? I have no idea. But if you're on TikTok, you probably do.
But it's super sweet to see them back together because it'd be so awkward to just keep beefing with your mom, even that it's more awkward to have your mom marry someone that you probably dated and hooked up with. That's still awkward. But this family's been through a lot together, so it's happy to see that.
I'd be impressed if
Where's Dominic?
If Dominic was the one recording.
if Dominic's
working the camera,
right?
Oh my God! If he just creeped in the background for the very end of it,
Yeah.
Three's Company.
Now that would blow
But
up.
that's what I'm wondering. I mean, it seems like she's got to be
That has
okay
to
with
be
Dominic
discussed,
too,
right?
right? I mean, she can't just say, "Okay, I like you, but I'm pissed at him."
Right. At some point, you're gonna have to run into Dominic.
I don't see how that works.
There must have been some sort of powwow.
Right.
Hey, it's Becca from Warwick, Rhode Island. I give these ladies a lot of credit, especially Noah. I don't think I could easily forgive my mom for dating my ex, and then my ex ends up being my stepdad. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see if Miley Cyrus covers any of her family drama in her upcoming album that's out next month.
I don't understand that. It's like Noah is done with him. And what?
Oh, no.
Okay, we won't get into it.
No.
I just don't.
This goes beyond bro code, which I know you think shouldn't exist.
It's ridiculous.
This is more than bro code. Your mom marries your ex?
When she said, and he's a stepdad, I kind of get the point there. Okay, what else you guys want to talk about?
Tim Susie from beautiful New Hampshire. I think the Weezer show is off with a big bang. That's great. I don't know what Jillian was thinking, bringing a handgun out in public. I think she should know that that's frowned upon these days. But not only that, she fired it and aimed it. And now she's facing attempted murder charges. I think she better hope that she was feeling threatened by somebody.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they haven't charged her, they've just booked her, so we'll see what the DA does. One more.
Hey guys, it's Joy Daly from New York City, and I wanted to comment on that Khloe Kardashian story. Now, I agree with Khloe 100%. Lamar Odom is a weird and sick man for making a sex doll that looks just like her. And the fact that he still cannot get over Khloe Kardashian after all these years just shows how disturbed he is.
Well, what if she's the love of his life?
He needs to move on. She has moved on. He needs professional help with moving on because the fact that he's trying to ruin her life by making a sex doll that looks like her.
How does that ruin her life? How does that ruin her life?
Because now it's going to be like all these men are having sex with her.
No. He wasn't making it for mass.
It's a customized doll.
Just for him.
It's a custom doll.
That does sound, now that I say that, it sounds weird. All right, now we're the guys defending the, okay.
Okay, we got to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Viola Davis. Everyone loves Viola Davis, and you're going to see her react to a new honor she got in Hollywood, one that does not always go very smoothly, but you'll see how it worked out for her. Viola Davis has almost literally done it all. She's got an EGOT, right? So there are no awards left for her to win, but she did get another honor, a wax statue. And I will say, sometimes we've seen these go south when they are
awful.
Awful.
Just awful.
Here is Viola's reaction to hers.
You got everything right. I mean, she looks alive. My teeth, my lips. This dress, I believe, is Armani. This is just like, woo. It's just beautiful. There's signs in your life where you feel worthy. And they help the inside feel worthy. I can't believe that little Viola pulled it off. You know, you pulled it off.
That's really sweet.
They did a good job.
Yeah, she's impressed. That's what's so interesting about it, is that I don't think she's acting. I think she really was moved by it.
Really well done.
Really
Way
nice.
to go, Madame Tussauds.
Finally, we
Big
can
hot one.
end on something nice. We'll see you tomorrow.